Hello, I'm Lorna Gillespie. You may know me from the many videos that we've been doing over the course of the 2 years past. I think we've done 25 to 30 videos, and this is going to be the last video that we do. I'm here with John Rea. I've been working with John for 21 years. Hope you enjoy this last video. So thank you, John, for doing this interview. We just closed the store. It's been a fabulous day, busy again, customers coming in and telling us their story of how long they've been shopping at Chapman's. And anyways, here we are. We're just gonna sit here and ask you a few questions. So tell us a little bit about Edward Chapman Woman.
Yeah, thanks, Lorna. Well, where to begin? There's a lot to say about the store, and it is an old family company. It actually did begin its business in 1890, and my grandpa came from Ireland in 1910. In fact, I have a letter that he wrote back to his mother in October of 1910 describing Vancouver and what it was like and where he was going to work with this guy named Edward Chapman. And he started out at $2 a day, and he was just a kid that came to a new world and worked hard, and he eventually purchased the business in 1938 when Edward Chapman died, and he was no blood relation to the family. He was just a young kid that came from Ireland as a youngster looking for a new start, I guess, in his career. And the company at that time was really, I think, having difficulty during the war years of availability of product. The ladies division grew, it became more and more important. He had his children working for him. When the war ended, he had a grandson of the founder named Hugh Chapman that worked for him. And in 1959, Grandpa, in his wisdom, decided to split the company between men's and ladies, and in so doing, he retained control of the ladies division for his son, Rea. This was my uncle, and the men's division went back to the original family, to Hubert Chapman and their family. And so I stand very much on the shoulders of Grandpa and my Uncle Dave.
A lot of history there.
A lot of history, and interesting when you say that, Lorna. I have this book here, and here it is. It's the modern day computer of 1891.
Wow.
And it shows in beautiful handwriting every item that was sold in the fall of 1891. And it culminates on the 24th of December, 1891, busiest day of the year, where the take was $206.60. So I got involved in the store in 1976, and I was just a young kid going to UBC, and my Uncle Dave invited me to join the company, and I finished my degree and joined in 1980, so it's been my life. And
did you know at that time that you were going into the womenswear business?
I don't know if I knew that. I really don't know. But it wasn't long before I really was captured by the magic of the people that made it up. The magic of the customer experience and the tremendous ability of staff to really look after customers and develop a very, very positive customer experience. And I think that was really the magnet that sucked me into the whole vortex of the store. And it wasn't long before I realized that this was going to be it. And then, of course, it was more than 2 years later that Uncle Dave asked me to purchase the company. So I purchased the company from Uncle Dave in 1982 and just spent forever paying for it. And it was, for me, a great chance to continue to learn and try and connect with people, and the store grew and became bigger. We moved to this location in before my time. In fact, in 1970, we opened the store here at 10th and Granville, and prior to that, when I was a kid, I do remember our ladies' wear store that had moved up from the 600 block Granville around the corner to its location at 777 West Georgia. And you think where that is? That is
Center Mall.
That is Pacific Center Mall. That's between Granville and Howe on the north side of the street. That's where our ladies' wear store was. And when the city of Vancouver expropriated that land to make way for Pacific Center in around 1970, the Chapman's operation moved to this location. And I was, as I said, I was just in high school at that time, but right around that time, in fact, it was, and I think you were kind enough to look this up for me because I had forgotten, but in September of 1970, Marjorie Morrison started working for us. And
This leads to the question, key elements of success.
well, okay.
So,
Oh, well,
Marjorie Morrison.
Well, Marjorie is still working with us today. She runs our Surrey store. And so she has been just such an amazing woman that has been with us now, what's the math, John? 52 years. And I've just learned so much from that woman, and she's such a professional. Just, I can't say enough about her. Okay?
Magic of people.
Yeah, that's true. There is really power that comes from the magic of people that the store has really formed its foundation around. And the ability for staff to seek forgiveness and not permission, the ability for everybody to feel empowered to do whatever it takes to make the customer happy. And I do remember Grandpa telling me, I'll never forget it, Grandpa saying to me, John, Grandpa died in 1979, and I remember him saying to me, if you're going to come along with us, John, you got to learn how to hire people. Well, okay, how do I, I've never done that before. He says, you got to learn how to hire what you can't train. What you do is beyond words, and so
I work with marvelous people too, a team of people, and I get
but
that.
you've led the way, and that's been the real exemplary power of the store. And there's so much around trust and communication, developing the synergy amongst colleagues, and the opportunity for win-win relationships, and to really cultivate the human spirit of the customer experience has really been the magic that I've really liked in the store. More than anything, I think that's been my glue. It's kept me so engaged.
What about service standards?
Okay, well, I laugh when people say they give good service, and what is service? And so we need to define service, and in the store years ago we did that, and I've never felt we provided service unless we provided the unexpected. And so I believe when the customer comes into the store, she has a bar of expectation of what she is perceiving to receive in that customer experience, that level of engagement. And it's only when you, I believe, exceed that bar of expectation that you've actually provided service. And so that bar is different for every person. And the magic of empowerment, in my view, is to provide the ability of a staff person like you, Lorna, to be able to exceed that bar, because who am I to tell you what that bar is? Because I don't know that customer like you do. So I want to make sure that you have the tools in your toolbox to exceed that bar.
I used to say never complain about the weather.
Yeah, that's right, Lorna. Good for you. Good memory. No, I would often say that to everyone because you can't control the weather. And so I would say, and I still believe this, is focus on what you can control and try and avoid the things that you can't control. And if I was chatting with you or someone and you were telling me how poor business is today because of the weather, I would say, well, okay, let's dial 911 and ask God to answer and see if he'll change the
Or
weather.
a pandemic.
Yeah, you can't control what happens, and so try and stay within what you know and learn from it, but move forward as well. And we try to reinvest and reinvent ourselves, as we did very much when, for example, we were in a difficult time in 2009 and 10, and we rebranded and we closed stores. We had 2 stores at Oak Ridge. We were one of the first tenants in 1959. And we closed Oak Ridge then, and around 2010, we closed Oak Ridge, and we opened in Surrey the next year. And the reality of us was reinventing ourselves with a rebrand to EC Woman, and starting over with the renovation of this store. And we really felt at the time, and I still do feel, that it was the right thing to do. And Lorna, your leadership with the buying and all those trips we did to Europe has just been magical, and that certainly, I think, helped us a lot in our rebranding.
It certainly was fun. I have to say, I love my job. I love every aspect of my job. And I love the variety that it's brought. You know, I'm not just on the floor. I'm not just, managing my staff. I like to look at the notes and the printouts downstairs. I love preparing for buying. I love seeing when we go buying. I like to be the first one and telling the customer, yeah, this is what to watch for in another 6 months. So every aspect of it, I love that.
The other thing is, when I bought this business from Uncle Dave 40 years ago, Lorna, rent, think about this, rent as a percentage of sales was less than 4%. Today, it's 22%. So it has just grown enormously, and the costs of rent have become just so substantive. And then you throw in tremendous costs associated with government. There's the BC health tax, there's WCB costs, there's Canada pension costs. Those are just sort of the compilation of some of the difficulties.
COVID.
Okay, COVID. Yes, COVID has been pretty tough. And I think the difficulty with COVID, Lorna, has been that our customer, and she's wise, has been cautious. She's been slow to emerge from this pandemic. Our sales are still way off, as you know.
Don't want to interrupt, but just in this past week, I've had several customers come up to me and say, "Oh, where am I going to shop? This is the first time out in 2 years." Can you imagine? This is just in the last week, first time out shopping. So we've not seen all of our customers out in the last 2 years.
No, that's right, and we still have to pay rent, we still have to pay salaries. Sorry?
We can't wait.
Yeah, so that's been another factor, and of course we've also been fraught with this tremendous supply chain issue where, as you know, you've been to Europe I don't know how many times with me, and one of our big parts of our equation is buying product that we are going to import ourselves and bring in from Europe, and suddenly the difficulties of bringing that product in have been several fold, as you know, where our cost of transportation increased overnight 5 times when COVID hit, and we don't get product in nearly as timely a fashion any longer because our suppliers are slow to produce because they've got mill issues.
It's all backed up through the chain.
Yeah, and the reality is that a retailer is left holding the bag. When the customer sees it out of season, they don't buy, and so you as a retailer are left holding the bag. And that's been an ongoing challenge for us, and just adds to the woes of the difficulties these past several years. But certainly, it all boils down to cost. Unfortunately, it becomes a business decision, and rent is right at the top. That's the difficulty. We didn't really close. We aren't really closing just because of COVID. We're closing because of all the other related costs in our business that
Substantial.
that have made it impossible to operate, Lorna. That's the sad reality, and it's not just COVID.
So many stores have pivoted to online sales. How can you help?
No, Lorna, you're right. We haven't gone to online sales, and thank God we didn't. And I feel, and experiences show me that from other retailers that I've talked to over the years, that our demographic, our customer, is not keen on buying online. We're not selling widgets here. And the very cornerstone of the business that was built long before me by Uncle Dave and Grandpa was founded all on the magic, as I mentioned, of people and the shopping experience and the opportunity to touch and feel the merchandise and put it on and feel good or feel bad. Lorna, when you and I go to Germany and we buy, the magic for us is to be able to feel it and to touch it and to see it on. And that concludes our plan to buy, which leads to our plan to sell. And think of pants. I think of, we have, how many do we have? I think we have well over 20 different fits just in pants alone. And you just can't put that across with a picture online.
And within each brand, there's different fits. So to say I'm only going to wear this brand because it fits me is wrong, because every brand will have different fits.
So true. And you might be a size 8, or you might be a size 12, or you might be a size 10. It depends, as you wisely pointed out, brand, fit, just so many factors. And of course, I think of our full service tailor shop here that really is doing remakes for customers all the time. It's really founded on providing full service. And full service doesn't come online when you buy it. And so that's one of the big factors. The other is that some product, like a great example is our lovely Longchamp line of handbags. Well, we're not allowed to sell Longchamp online. They don't permit it. And so I would love to be able to sell Longchamp online, because I think that's one that you could sell, because it's in a sense, a widget. It doesn't have a fit about it. It's more generic in its nature. And the other big factor that I've learned is the ongoing cost of the website itself. You have to have someone ideally in-house to manage it, to monitor it,
Returns.
to execute the sale, to manage the returns. And returns can be very difficult, especially when it's a specialized product that you're selling at the outset. People don't really know what the fit is of that pant until they get it home and try it on. And
the beauty of coming in the store is getting the expertise of all of us, the people who work here. You just don't get that with online shopping.
And the bottom line of it, again, comes back to the finance of it.
The cost.
It just doesn't pay. It really does not pay. So that's in a nutshell why we have.
This next one is a simple question, and I don't think it's going to be a simple answer.
Okay.
Why are you closing the business?
It doesn't come easily, Lorna. It comes with a lot of anxiety and sadness and tremendous emotion. And the reality is that the cost of business has become untenable. This location is one that we've been in for 52 years. And rent in another 2 months is expected to more than double. And we just can't make it work. It's no longer a viable business. And the sad reality is that yes, rent goes up, taxation goes up, but there's no control over commercial landlords, and everything is net to the landlord. We pay their taxes, we pay all of their operating costs, we give them a return, their asset improves in value. And I sat down with Marjorie just the other day and we listed in 3 minutes 29 stores just in the ladies fashion business that have closed, independents just like us, for the same reason, Lorna. And it's very emotional, and I have to live with that and find a place for it, because I feel a lot of guilt and anxiety, and it's not easy, but the reality is that we just can't make it work.
So we now know that the rent's gone up more than double. Why not just move to a smaller space?
Well, on the surface, Lorna, that seems like a simple solution, doesn't it? But where it fails is the operational model that falls from that. We're a multi-store operation. We have our sales floor here. We have our head office downstairs. We have our warehouse downstairs. We have our distribution center downstairs. Everything revolves around a sales floor, but to drive the sales floor, you need to have a back end. And so if we were to move to a smaller space, we would also be renting a back end. And the only way we could make it work is to have that back end and hope that the numbers would work out, but they won't. And they won't because you have a warehouse facility, an office facility, as I said, a distribution facility. There's a cost associated with that. And the real difficulty comes where you could say, all right, let's go down to one store, where there are many operations that survive perhaps on the basis of just having a single store, where the merchandise just arrives directly onto the floor and there is no office and someone at home pays the bills, and there's no computer system. Nothing's entered into a database for providing that kind of analysis that I so dearly feel is integral to our business. In the days of Grandpa and Uncle Dave, you didn't have a computer system. You didn't need one, and everything revolved around the floor. They spent much more time on the floor than I have ever done. But in today's world, I felt, and I still do, that you need to have margin analysis, you need to have sell-through analysis, you need to know exactly where you're at with your business and be able to pinpoint difficulties and capitalize on successes and move quickly. And the computer, to me, has been the key element to making that happen. And I have never felt that you can execute what you and I do, the plan to buy and the plan to sell property, without a backup of proper knowledge. So on the surface, you would think that we could move to a smaller space, but the reality is that it just isn't practical. There's a cost associated with redeveloping a store. I see massive upfront costs that would lead to a 10-year lease before you really get an opportunity to cover those costs and feel that you're able to make some money. And it just isn't a practical decision. So again, unfortunately, it boils down to the finances. It's the cold hard reality where it comes right back to the cost of operation.
So John, how do you personally feel about doing this business coming to an end? I know this is a hard question to answer. What do you feel?
Yeah, it's a really hard one. I've certainly been, well, thank you for asking that, Lorna. I've been fraught with sadness, anxiety, guilt.
Why guilt?
Because I feel that I've let you down. I feel that I've let the staff down. I feel that I've
First of all, don't feel that. That's
probably let customers down, and I feel less of myself. I feel humbled by everybody, but it's something that I have to live with and find a place for, and I don't know where that place is yet, but I hope at some point I'll figure it out and be okay with it. But right now it's very raw and very sad, and it's me that's, as I said in my letter, it's me that's ending this legacy. It's not Grandpa and it's not Uncle Dave, and you can't help but feel you failed, but you do feel you just feel, I guess, sadness, Lorna.
But
More
things
than
do,
anything.
good things do come to an end, and I really believe, I mean, this couldn't have gone on forever, so, you know, I think we're ending it on your terms.
Yes, I feel that we're ending it on our terms. We're paying our bills, Lorna. We're going to have a party, a staff party, as you know. We're going to have a laugh, and I'm sure a tear, and we're going to celebrate ourselves, and then we're going to close.
So when are you planning on closing, John? This is a big question everybody's been asking.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Lorna. Well, the short answer is when we run out of merchandise.
Right.
But it's going to be sooner than we think.
It's going fast.
And we're still open. Still got some stuff. And we're still selling. But no, we've, as you know, we've closed the Surrey store. Closed the Surrey store last Friday. And we have our West Vancouver store, which will close very soon. It's kind of a day-to-day thing. And our Granville store will stay open, I hope, for a little while yet. But
So you'll consolidate all the merchandise into the Granville store, and that'll be the last.
yeah, we will. And there's just been such an incredible, as you know, influx of kindness and magical thank yous from customers, and of course staff, but the emails, the social media posts, just the whole reaction has just been overwhelming. And Lorna, you've really created an incredible following, and I know so many customers have come to you and shared their stories of their history, and many have done similarly to myself. And I think one incredible example was Marjorie out in Surrey, where this was, I guess, 2 weeks ago. I was out there just by coincidence and working on the floor for the afternoon, and around 3:30 in walks, I don't know, about 8 or 10 customers, and they're bringing a bouquet of balloons, a cake, champagne, coffee mugs, champagne glasses, forks, plates, napkins, chairs, and of course kindness and speeches.
Unbelievable.
And it was a celebration to Marjorie and her staff. And I was there just by coincidence. And I'm never going to forget that afternoon, because it was just so incredibly powerful, and it made my whole emotion of the first years I've worked in the store as just kind of almost coming full circle to the magic that the staff have created. That really is just beyond words. So yes, we're still open, but not for long. And if you're listening to this, come and see us one last time to share a tear and I hope a laugh.
I find it therapeutic talking to customers. The first couple days of our, when this went public, it was very hard, very emotional, and crying for no reason. I thought it's going to need a pill if this doesn't settle down. But a couple days in and talking to people, it was very, very helpful. People bringing in chocolates, homemade baking, flowers, like you say, emails, and the posting on Kari's Instagram and Facebook, reading all the stories. It really is amazing. I'm amazed at how many people I've met over the years. And,
it's magical, isn't it?
Well, the other day too, a lady said, I recognize you. And I said, well, I've been working here 21 years. No, that's not it. You're the one in the video. So, and we get that all the time. Doing these videos, this being the last one, but 25, 30 fashion videos. It's been amazing. I've loved doing it.
Thank you for the ride, Lorna.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you.
Thank you.